The silver ship broke through Earth's atmosphere on a quiet Tuesday morning. Most people who saw it thought it was just another satellite or piece of space junk burning up. They were wrong. Inside the ship, Containment Officer Tae-ho checked his instruments one last time. His mission was clear: assess the spread of the corruption on this isolated planet and prepare it for standard protocol. In simple terms, that meant watching to see how quickly the humans would die, then making sure nothing left the planet to infect other worlds. Ship analysis complete, the computer said in a flat voice. Atmosphere breathable. Local disease levels high. Corruption markers widespread. Tae-ho nodded. He had seen this before on 12 other worlds. The pattern was always the same. The corruption would arrive, spread quickly through the population, and within 3 months, everyone would be dead. The Galactic Council would then mark the planet as contaminated for 200 years before allowing anyone to return. What's strange, he said to himself, looking at the data, is that infection began 5 years ago according to these readings. He frowned. That's impossible. No species survives the corruption for more than 3 months. He directed his ship to land in a remote forest area near what his computer identified as a major research center in a place called South Korea. The landing was smooth and quiet. Tae-ho put on his containment suit, even though the corruption couldn't hurt his species. It was standard procedure. 20 kilometers away, in her lab at the Global Disease Research Center in Seoul, Dr. Ji-Soo Kim looked up from her microscope. A small alert was flashing on her computer screen. Unknown metal object detected in Sector 7, the message read. Ji-Soo sighed. As head of the Nexus 7 Research Division, anything unusual in her area had to be investigated. Especially now, 5 years after the first outbreak. Min, prepare the field team, she called to her assistant, and make sure everyone takes their immunity boosters. Min nodded. Do you think it's connected to Nexus 7? Everything is connected to Nexus 7 these days, Ji-Soo replied, grabbing her field kit. At 42, Ji-Soo had already lived through what many called the worst disaster in human history. The disease had appeared suddenly in multiple locations around the world. It attacked the brain first, then spread to other organs. Millions died in the first wave. But then something happened that no one expected. People started to recover. Not everyone, but enough to give hope. And some of those who recovered were different afterward. Changed. Better in some ways. 2 hours later, Ji-Soo's team approached the landing site. Their trucks stopped half a kilometer away, and they continued. On foot. Life signs? Ji-Soo asked the technician beside her. 1, he answered, looking at his tablet. Humanoid, but definitely not human. Different body temperature, different heart rate. Ji-Soo felt her own heart beat faster. After 5 years of studying the disease, after watching humanity nearly fall, and then somehow pull back from the edge, they finally might get some answers. They found Tae-ho standing beside his ship, which now looked like a smooth silver egg half buried in the forest floor. He was tall and thin, with skin that had a slight blue tint. Otherwise, he looked surprisingly human. I am Containment Officer Tae-ho, he said in perfect Korean, thanks to his translator implant. I represent the Galactic Council. This planet has been infected with a Level 1 biological agent. I am here to implement containment procedures. Ji-Soo stepped forward. I am Dr. Ji-Soo Kim. We call the disease Nexus 7. It arrived 5 years ago. Tae-ho blinked several times, a sign of extreme surprise in his species. 5 years? That's not possible. The corruption kills all advanced life forms within 3 months. Not us, Ji-Soo said simply. We lost nearly 30% of the world. Population in the first year. But then people started to recover. Tae-ho looked at the humans surrounding him. According to his scanner, every one of them showed markers of the corruption in their blood. Yet they were alive, moving, thinking. This requires further investigation, he said finally. The council must be informed. Ji-Soo nodded. We have many questions too. Will you come to our research center? We can show you what we've learned about Nexus 7. Taeho agreed, though he kept his containment suit on. Not because he feared the disease, but because he was now uncertain about everything he thought he knew. The Global Disease Research Center was a sprawling complex of buildings on the outskirts of Seoul. Once inside, Jisoo took Taeho to a large room filled with screens showing data and images from around the world. "This is our monitoring center," she explained. "We track Nexus 7 infections, recoveries, and those showing enhanced abilities." "Enhanced abilities?" Taeho asked. Instead of answering, Jisoo called out, "Dr. Park, can you join us, please?" A man in his 30s entered the room. He looked ordinary, except for his eyes, which seemed to shift color slightly as he moved. "This is Dr. Sunho Park," Jisoo introduced him. "He was infected 3 years ago. Sunho, can you show our visitor what you can do?" Sunho nodded and looked at a complex mathematical equation displayed on one of the screens. The equation filled the entire screen and would take most mathematicians hours to solve. The answer is 3.7824 multiplied by 10 to the 43rd power, Sunho said after just 5 seconds. "There's also an error in the third line. The coefficient should be negative, not positive." Taeho stared. "How did you do that?" "My brain processes information differently now," Sunho explained simply. "I see patterns more clearly. I think faster." "And he's not the only one," Jisoo added. "We've documented over 50 different types of enhancements in recovery patients. Increased strength, faster healing, improved memory, enhanced senses. Some people can even sense the emotions of others now." Taeho removed his helmet, breaking protocol for the first time in his career. "In all our records, across thousands of worlds and billions of years, no species has ever survived the corruption, let alone benefited from it. Your people should be extinct." Jisoo smiled slightly. "Human beings are good at doing what should be impossible. We adapt, we fight, we help each other." "I need to see everything," Taeho said. "All your research, all your data. The council must know about this." As Jisoo led him deeper into the facility, showing him labs where scientists studied blood samples and brain scans, Taeho felt something he hadn't felt in a very long time: wonder. These humans weren't just surviving, they were changing, evolving in response to what should have been their extinction. "There's something else you should know," Jisoo said as they stopped in front of a large window overlooking a training room. Inside, a young woman was lifting objects without touching them, moving them through the air with small gestures of her hands. "The enhancements are becoming more common, more pronounced," Jisoo explained. "And children born to those who recovered from Nexus 7 often show abilities from birth. We're not just surviving your corruption, Taeho. We're becoming something new." Taeho watched the demonstration, his mind racing. The Galactic Council had strict protocols for dealing with the corruption: containment, quarantine, and if necessary, sterilization of the infected planet. But how would they respond to this? Humans weren't dying from the plague that had wiped out dozens of civilizations. They were evolving through it. And that might frighten the Council more than the disease itself. News of Earth's survival spread quickly through the Galactic Council. Within 3 days of Taeho's first report, a science vessel broke through Earth's atmosphere. Unlike Taeho's small silver egg, this ship was massive, a floating laboratory, designed to study biological phenomena across the galaxy. Council Elder Do-Yun watched from the command deck as Earth grew larger in the view screen. His 4-fingered hand tapped nervously against the arm of his chair. "This changes everything," he said to no one in particular. "If humans have survived the corruption, then the Council's containment protocols may be unnecessary." Finished. HFY, the ship's lead biologist. She stood tall even for her species, with the characteristic blue tint to her skin that marked all members of the Council races. Or worse, they may have been unnecessary for centuries. Do-Yun frowned. "That's dangerous thinking, Scientist HFY. The protocols have protected countless worlds." "At what cost?" HFY asked quietly. But Do-Yun had already turned away, giving orders for landing procedures. On Earth, Dr. Jisoo had been busy preparing for the Council's arrival. The world's governments, initially shocked by Taiho's appearance, had quickly organized a global response team. Jisoo had been named head of scientific communications. "They're here to study us," she told the assembled group of scientists and government officials. "We should be ready for tests, questions, and probably some fear on their part. Remember, according to Taiho, no other species has survived this plague." Sunho, who had been promoted to Jisoo's assistant, added, "They may also be interested in those of us with enhanced abilities. I suggest we be open but cautious about what we share." The council ship landed at a specially prepared site outside Seoul. A delegation of Earth scientists and leaders waited as a ramp extended from the silver vessel. Haewon was the first to exit, followed by her team of 6 researchers and Elder Do-yun. Like Taeho, they wore protective suits, despite knowing the corruption couldn't harm them. "Welcome to Earth," Jisoo said, stepping forward. "I'm Dr. Jisoo Kim, head of the Nexus 7 research team." Haewon nodded, her translator converting her words to Korean. "I am lead scientist Haewon. This is Elder Do-yun of the Galactic Council. We have come to understand how your species has survived what we call the corruption. We have prepared laboratories and living quarters for your team," Jisoo replied, "and we're ready to begin working together whenever you are." Elder Do-yun spoke for the first time, his voice deeper than Haewon's. "We will need blood samples from your survivors, brain scans, genetic mapping, full access to your research data." Jisoo nodded. "Of course, we're just as eager to understand what happened as you are." But as she led the alien delegation toward the research center, Jisoo couldn't help but notice the tension in Elder Do-yun's movements. He wasn't just curious, he was worried. Over the next few weeks, Haewon and her team worked closely with Earth's scientists. They set up equipment that could analyze human DNA in ways Earth's technology couldn't yet manage. They studied the progression of Nexus 7 through human bodies, and most importantly, they examined the survivors who had developed enhanced abilities. Sunho volunteered to be one of their primary test subjects. Haewon was amazed by his enhanced cognitive abilities. "Your neural pathways have completely reorganized," she told him as they reviewed his brain scans. "In every other species, the corruption destroys these pathways, but in you, it's as if they've been upgraded." Sunho nodded. "That's how it feels, like my brain found a better way to think." He pointed to a colorful area on the scan. "What's that part doing?" Haewon zoomed in on the image. "That's the interesting part. It's using parts of the virus itself. Your body didn't just fight off the corruption, it incorporated it." In another lab, Jisoo was showing Elder Do-yun the worldwide data on Nexus 7 infections and recoveries. "The first wave killed nearly 2 billion people," she explained, her voice somber. "We were unprepared. The disease spread too quickly to contain." Do-yun studied the charts. "Yet the death rate began falling after 6 months. Why?" "We developed treatments that helped manage symptoms," Jisoo said. "Not a cure, but ways to keep people alive longer. And that gave some people's immune systems time to adapt." "And these enhanced individuals," Do-yun said carefully. "How many are there?" Jisoo hesitated before answering. "At last count, about 15 million worldwide, and the number grows each day as more people recover with abilities." Do-yun's eyes widened slightly. "So many." "Is that concerning to you, Elder?" Jisoo asked directly. Do-yun turned away from the data screens. "The Council has encountered many species across the galaxy, Dr. Kim. Some peaceful, some not, but none with the kind of potential your people are showing. It creates questions." Back in her private lab, Haewon was making a discovery that would change everything. She had been analyzing the structure of the corruption virus found in human survivors and comparing it to samples from other worlds. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered, running the analysis again. When the same result appeared, she quickly saved her findings to a private data core. Later that night, she met with Taeho, who had remained on Earth as a liaison between the Council team and humans. "I found something," she told him quietly as they walked through the empty research center. "The corruption virus in humans has markers I've never seen before. It's been modified, Taeho stopped walking. Modified by whom? I don't know, Haewon admitted. But it's not a natural variation. Someone engineered this version of the virus. Why would anyone do that? Taeho asked. I have a theory, Haewon said. But I need to check something first. Can you get me access to the Council's historical archives, the sealed sections? Taeho looked worried. Those are restricted, even to me. But I'll try. The next day, while the research continued, a new development caught everyone's attention. A young woman named Mi-jin, who had recovered from Nexus 7 2 years earlier, suddenly demonstrated the ability to heal others. Her coworker had cut his hand badly on broken glass, and when Mi-jin touched the wound, it closed before everyone's eyes. News of this spread quickly. Healing abilities had been theorized but never confirmed until now. Sunho brought the news to Jisoo and Haewon as they worked in the main lab. This changes the game, Sunho said. Healing others isn't just an enhancement, it's a completely new ability. Haewon looked troubled. The corruption is supposed to destroy, not create. None of this follows the pattern we've seen on other worlds. Maybe that's because the corruption was meant to destroy us, but we turned it into something else, Jisoo suggested. Human history is full of examples of taking things meant to harm us and finding ways to use them for good. As they discussed the implications, Elder Do-yoon entered the lab. He had been on a call with the full Galactic Council. I have news, he announced. The Council is sending a larger research team. They want more data on these enhanced humans. His tone was neutral, but Haewon noticed the tension in his posture. She caught Taeho's eye across the room. He gave a small nod, indicating he had found a way to access the sealed archives she had requested. That night, as Haewon reviewed the ancient council records Taeho had obtained, she found what she was looking for, and much more. The truth about the corruption was far darker than anyone had imagined, and it placed humanity in even greater danger. Because if her suspicions were correct, the corruption wasn't a natural plague at all. It was a weapon. And someone on the council had deployed it deliberately across the galaxy. Someone who wouldn't be happy to discover that humans had not only survived, but thrived. Haewon couldn't sleep. The sealed council records had revealed a terrible truth. Centuries ago, the council had classified a remote planet as dangerous after its inhabitants developed an unusual illness. That planet was Earth, and the illness was an early form of what the council now called the corruption. But instead of helping Earth or leaving it alone, someone on the council had taken samples of the disease. Over time, they made it stronger, deadlier. Then they released it on worlds that might one day challenge the council's power. When morning came, Haewon found Taeho waiting outside her quarters. We need to talk, he said quietly. The council is sending more than just researchers. They're sending a containment fleet. Haewon felt cold fear spread through her body. A containment fleet? But why? Humans aren't a threat. Humans are evolving in ways the council never expected, Taeho replied. Some members see that as the biggest threat of all. Meanwhile, in the main conference room of the Global Disease Research Center, Jisoo was meeting with government officials from around the world. The most important was Yuna, who led Earth's newly formed Alien Relations Department. We've been open and helpful, Yuna said, her voice firm despite her small size. Yet their ships keep coming. Last night, our satellites spotted 5 more entering orbit. What do they want? Jisoo shook her head. They say they need more data, more tests, but I'm starting to wonder if there's something they're not telling us. Sunho, who sat quietly in the corner, spoke up. There is. All eyes turned to him. I've been monitoring their communications. My enhanced hearing lets me understand their language now, even without their translators. What have you heard? Yuna asked. There's a council member named Jinwoo who keeps using a phrase I don't understand. Protocol 7. The others seem afraid when he mentions it. Yuna made a note. We need to find out what that means. And we need to prepare for trouble just in case. At that moment, Haewon and Taeho entered the room. Seeing the serious faces of the humans, HFY knew it was time to share what she had learned. "Your planet is in danger," she said without greeting. "And I have proof that the Council is responsible for the corruption in the first place." The room went silent. Then Yuna stood up. "Tell us everything." HFY explained what she had discovered in the sealed records. How Earth had been home to an early form of the corruption. How Council scientists had made it deadlier. How they had used it to eliminate potential rival species before they could develop space travel. "But that's genocide," Jisoo said, horrified. "Yes," Taeho agreed. "And only a few on the Council know the truth. Most believe the corruption is a natural plague." "Who is behind this?" Yuna demanded. "We're not sure," HFY admitted. "But Council member Jin Woo is pushing hardest for containment procedures now. He may be involved." Sunho looked up sharply. "Jin Woo is the one who keeps mentioning Protocol 7. Taeho's face darkened. "Protocol 7 is total planetary sterilization. It means they plan to destroy all life on Earth." The news spread quickly through Earth's leadership. Within hours, military forces around the world were on high alert. But everyone knew Earth's weapons were no match for the Council's technology. Yuna called an emergency meeting of all nations. "We can't fight them with conventional weapons," she told the assembled leaders. "But we have something they don't expect, our enhanced people." Around the world, those who had developed abilities after surviving Nexus 7 were asked to help. Some could heal, others had incredible strength or speed. A few, like Sunho, had developed enhanced mental abilities. Junki, a former soldier who had gained tactical prediction abilities after recovering from Nexus 7, was put in charge of Earth's defense strategy. "They'll attack from orbit first," he explained, studying maps with military leaders. "Their ships have weapons that can hit any target on Earth, but they'll send ground forces later to confirm their success." "How can you be so sure?" a general asked. "I can see the patterns," Junki replied. "Not the future exactly, but I can calculate what they're most likely to do, and I'm never wrong." Up in orbit, the Council ships continued to arrive. Elder Do-Yun found himself summoned to a meeting with Senior Council member Jin-Woo, who had just arrived on the flagship. "Your reports are concerning," Jin-Woo said, not bothering with greetings. "These humans are developing abilities that could threaten the Council's authority. They're just trying to survive," Do-Yun argued. "Like any species would." Jin-Woo's eyes narrowed. "No species has ever survived the corruption. The fact that humans have means they're dangerous." He turned to look at Earth through the viewing window. "The containment fleet will be ready in 3 days. Then we implement Protocol 7. "The full Council hasn't approved that," Do-Yun protested. "They will," Jin-Woo said with confidence. "Once I present the data on these enhanced humans, no one will want such a species joining the galactic community." Back on Earth, HFY was helping Jisoo analyze blood samples from enhanced humans. "There's a pattern here," Jisoo said, pointing to the screen. "The virus doesn't just change randomly. It responds to what each person needs most." HFY looked closer. "That's impossible. Viruses don't work that way." "Unless this one was programmed to?" Jisoo suggested. "You said it was engineered. Maybe its original purpose wasn't to kill." Before HFY could respond, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Taeho rushed into the lab. "They've started," he shouted. "A Council Black Ops team just entered the atmosphere. They're carrying a new version of the corruption." Jisoo grabbed her phone. "I need to warn Yuna. If they release a new version of the virus, it might kill even the survivors who adapted to the first one." HFY finished grimly. Across the city, Junki was already mobilizing his team of enhanced individuals. Through his tactical abilities, he had predicted this move days ago. "They'll land 15 kilometers north of the city," he told his team. "Their goal will be to release the virus into the water supply. We need to stop them before they get that far." His team moved out, each member using their unique abilities. One woman could run faster than any vehicle. Another had skin that could withstand extreme temperatures or pressures. A young man could sense motion from kilometers away. When the Council Black Ops ship landed, they found Junki's team waiting for them. How did they know? The team leader asked in shock as his soldiers were quickly overwhelmed by the enhanced humans. The battle was brief but intense. The Council soldiers had advanced weapons, but the enhanced humans had abilities the aliens couldn't predict or counter. Within minutes, the Black Ops team was captured and their deadly cargo secured. News of the failed attack spread quickly through both Earth and the Council fleet. Jinwoo was furious. Do-Yun saw an opportunity. I'm contacting the full Council, he told Haewon over a secure channel. They need to know what Jinwoo has been doing, and what humans have become. As tension built between Earth and the Council fleet, Yun-Ah made a bold decision. We need to take our case directly to the Galactic Council, she told her advisors. Not just defend ourselves, but demand recognition. We're not just victims of their weapon, we're survivors, and we deserve a place in the galaxy. With the captured Council ship, Earth now had proof of the attack and the means to respond. The next move would decide the fate of humanity, and possibly the entire Galactic Council itself. The captured Council ship provided Earth with something invaluable: access to the Council's data networks. Sun Ho and a team of enhanced humans with technical skills worked day and night to break through the security systems. I've got it, Sun Ho said on the third day, his eyes never leaving the alien screens. His enhanced mind could process the complex alien code faster than any computer. We're in their historical archives now. Jisoo and Yuna stood behind him, watching as ancient records began to appear on the screen. Can you find anything about the original version of the corruption? Jisoo asked. The one that supposedly came from Earth? Sun Ho nodded, his fingers moving quickly across the alien keyboard. Searching now. There's so much data here. Wait. I found something. The screen showed images of a lush green Earth, but from thousands of years in the past. A Council exploration ship had visited Earth during what humans would call the Bronze Age. They came here, Yuna said softly. Long before we had any idea other worlds existed. And they found something, Sun Ho added, translating the text beside the images. A unique microorganism in the soil near what is now Turkey. It had unusual properties. It could alter the neural pathways of local animals. Jisoo leaned closer. That must be the original form of the corruption, but it doesn't sound deadly. In this report, it wasn't, Sun Ho confirmed, reading further. The original organism helped animals adapt to environmental changes. It rewrote neural pathways to help them survive. So it was helpful, not harmful, Jisoo said. Someone on the Council must have changed it. Sun Ho continued searching, following the historical trail. Hours later, he found what they were looking for: records from a secret Council laboratory. Elder Min Jun, he read. He led a bioweapons division 500 years ago. They took the Earth organism and modified it, made it attack neural pathways instead of enhancing them. Why? Yuna asked. Why create such a terrible weapon? Sun Ho found the answer in Min Jun's private logs. To ensure Council dominance. They were worried about new species developing space travel and challenging their power. So they created the corruption as a way to eliminate potential rivals before they became threats. Jisoo shook her head in disgust. They've been using it for centuries, killing entire species. And now they want to kill us too, Yuna added. Because we survived their weapon. Meanwhile, aboard the Council flagship, Elder Do-Yun was confronting Jinwoo with evidence of the Black Ops mission. You ordered an attack without Council approval, Do-Yun said, his voice firm despite his fear. That violates our most basic laws. Jinwoo smiled coldly. The laws exist to protect the Council's dominance. These humans threaten that dominance. How? They haven't even left their planet. But they will, Jinwoo replied. And when they do, they'll bring their enhanced abilities with them. Imagine a species that can adapt to any threat, that grows stronger from attacks that would kill others. How long before they replace us? Do-Yun stood his ground. I've contacted the full Council. They're sending representatives to review your actions. Jinwoo's smile disappeared. By the time they arrive, this will be over. Protocol 7 is already being prepared. On Earth, Heiwan and Taeho were working with Jisoo to understand more about how humans had adapted to the corruption. We've analyzed blood samples from 1,000 enhanced humans, Jisoo explained, showing them the results. The virus doesn't just change people randomly. It responds to their needs and environment. Heiwan studied the data. That's how it was originally designed before Minjun's team weaponized it. It was meant to help species adapt. And somehow, in humans, it's reverted to its original purpose, Taeho added. Jisoo nodded. Exactly. But that should be impossible unless... Unless what? Heiwan asked. Unless humans were already exposed to the original version, Jisoo said slowly, a new realization dawning. I need to check something. She pulled up ancient human DNA samples from archaeological research. Look at this. There are traces of the original organism in human DNA going back at least 50,000 years. It's been a part of us all along. Taeho looked shocked. You're saying humans evolved alongside this organism? Yes, Jisoo confirmed. It became part of our evolutionary history. When Minjun's weaponized version attacked us, our bodies recognized parts of it and began to adapt, returning it to its original helpful purpose. Heiwan sat down heavily. This changes everything. The Council has been using a weapon that came from Earth against the only species that could naturally adapt to it. At that moment, Sunho burst into the lab. We've found everything. Minjun is still alive. He's one of the senior council members, and he's been directing Jinwoo all along. We need to get this information to the full council immediately, Taeho said, before Jinwoo can implement Protocol 7, but they were already too late. Up in orbit, Jinwoo had ordered the planet killer fleet to prepare for attack. Massive ships began moving into position around Earth, their weapons powerful enough to sterilize the entire planet. Do-Yun, now under arrest for challenging Jinwoo, managed to send one final message to Heiwan. They're starting. Save yourselves. If you can. When the message reached Earth, Yuna immediately activated the Global Defense Network. Enhanced humans around the world took up positions according to Junki's strategic plan. We've been preparing for this, Yuna told world leaders in an emergency broadcast. But our conventional weapons won't stop their ships. We need another approach. Jisoo had been thinking about this problem for days. Now she presented an unexpected solution. The corruption changed us because it recognized something in our DNA, she explained. What if we could use that connection? What if enhanced humans could influence the virus itself? Influence it how? Junki asked. To protect us, Jisoo said simply. The original organism helped species adapt to threats. What if we could communicate with it, direct it? Mijin, the woman with healing abilities, spoke up. I can feel it sometimes, the virus in my body. It's like it's waiting for instructions. This sparked an idea. Earth scientists and enhanced humans worked together to develop a new approach. Using Mijin and others with similar sensitivities, they found a way to activate the corruption virus in a new way. As Jinwoo's fleet prepared to fire their planet-killer weapons, something unexpected happened. All across Earth, enhanced humans linked their minds in a massive network, focusing their abilities on a single goal: protection. In space, Council weapons operators suddenly found their systems failing. The weapons built to deliver enhanced versions of the corruption began to malfunction as the virus itself responded to the humans' collective call. Jinwoo watched in disbelief as his fleet's weapons shut down one by one. What's happening? He demanded. A science officer checked the readings. The corruption samples in our weapons are changing. They're reversing back to their original form. Down on Earth, Jisoo watched the readings from orbit with hope and wonder. Their desperate plan was working. The humans' connection to the original organism was stronger than the Council's weaponized version. This is just the beginning, she told Yuna. The truth about the corruption is coming out, and humanity has just shown the galaxy what we're truly capable of. But as they celebrated this small victory, they knew the real battle was just beginning. Minjun, the architect of countless genocides, would not give up so easily. And Earth would need more than a temporary defense to secure its place in the galaxy. The moment had come to take the fight directly to the Council itself. Jinwoo stared at the monitors in disbelief. His planet-killer weapons had failed. The corruption virus in the weapons had changed, responding to some signal from Earth. "This is impossible," he muttered, but the evidence was clear. Humanity had found a way to control the very weapon designed to destroy them. He turned to his second-in-command. "Prepare the ground forces. If we can't sterilize the planet from orbit, we'll do it the hard way." On Earth, the temporary victory gave humans precious time to prepare. Yuna called an emergency meeting with all defense leaders. "We've stopped their first attack, but they'll try again," she warned. "We need a permanent solution." Junki, using his tactical abilities, had already predicted Jinwoo's next move. "They'll send troops to key locations around the planet. Their soldiers will be heavily armed and protected against the corruption. Can we fight them directly?" "A military?" General asked. "Not with conventional forces," Junki replied. "But we have something better." He looked around the room at the enhanced humans who had gathered. "Us," Yuna nodded. "We need to organize all enhanced humans into defense units, but we also need to take the fight to them. We have to stop this at its source." Jisoo, who had been quietly thinking, spoke up. "Minjun, he's the one who created the weaponized version of the corruption. He's the one we need to expose to the full council." "How?" Taeho asked. "He's on the council flagship, surrounded by guards and loyal followers." Sunho smiled slightly. "We have a captured council ship, and thanks to our enhanced pilots, we know how to fly it." A bold plan took shape. While Earth's enhanced humans prepared to defend against ground attacks, a small team would take the captured council ship into orbit. Their mission: reach the council flagship, find evidence of Minjun's crimes, and transmit it to the full council. Junki would lead the mission, using his tactical abilities to navigate the dangers ahead. Sunho would go to hack into the council's systems. Mijin would join them, her healing abilities potentially vital if anyone was injured. Taeho and Haewon volunteered to guide them through the council ship. As they prepared, Jisoo made another important discovery. The connection between enhanced humans and the corruption virus can be strengthened, she explained. With the right mental focus, our abilities can become even more powerful. The team spent a day learning to better control their abilities before launching into space. Their captured ship was small but fast, designed for stealth missions. "Remember," Junki told his team as they approached the massive council fleet, "they're expecting an attack, but not from one of their own ships." Using codes Taeho had provided, they passed through the fleet's outer defenses. Soon they were approaching the flagship, a giant silver vessel 10 times the size of any human spacecraft. "We're being hailed," Sunho said from the communication station. "Ignore it," Junki ordered. "Head for Docking Bay 7. It's the least monitored according to Taeho's information." They landed without incident, but they knew their presence would soon be discovered. Moving quickly, they entered the flagship's massive corridors. "This way," Taeho whispered, leading them through service passages and rarely used halls. "Minjun's private quarters and laboratory are on level 12. As they moved through the ship, alarms suddenly blared. "They've discovered the unauthorized docking," Haewon said. "We don't have much time." Just then, a group of council security forces appeared ahead of them. Before anyone could react, Junki pushed his team into a side passage. "I saw them coming," he explained. "My tactical sense is getting stronger." They continued moving, avoiding patrols with Junki's guidance. Finally, they reached Minjun's laboratory. The door was locked, but Sunho's enhanced mind quickly deciphered the complex security system. Inside, they found what they were looking for: detailed records of Minjun's work on the corruption virus. Centuries of deliberate genocide, all documented in cold scientific language. "This is worse than we thought," Haewon said, looking through the files. "He didn't just use the corruption against potential rival species. He tested different versions, uninhabited worlds, to see which was most effective." How many worlds? Mi-jin asked quietly. 73. Sun Ho answered, his enhanced mind processing the data quickly. Billions of individuals across dozens of species, all dead because of him. Junki kept watch at the door. We need to move. Download everything and let's go. Sun Ho copied all the files to a portable device, but as they turned to leave, the door slid open. Elder Min-jun himself stood there, flanked by armed guards. Humans, he said, his voice cold. I should have known you'd find a way here. Your species has always been surprisingly resourceful. Junki moved first, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to disarm 2 guards before they could fire. Mi-jin touched another guard who had raised his weapon, and he fell unconscious as her ability affected his nervous system in a way she hadn't tried before. But Min-jun remained calm. Impressive abilities. The very reason your species cannot be allowed to join the galactic community. You would quickly dominate it. Is that why you created the corruption? Taeho demanded. To eliminate any species that might challenge the council? Min-jun smiled slightly. To maintain order. To ensure stability. Some species are simply too dangerous to allow them to spread beyond their worlds. And who gave you the right to make that decision? Mi-jin asked. Someone must, Min-jun replied. He raised a small device in his hand. And now I must finish what Jin-woo could not. But before he could activate whatever weapon he held, Sun Ho spoke in a clear voice, broadcasting through the ship's communication system. Attention Council representatives. This is Sun Ho of Earth. We have discovered evidence of crimes committed by Elder Min-jun against dozens of species across the galaxy. The evidence is now being transmitted to all council ships and member worlds. Min-jun's face showed shock for the first time. How did you... My enhanced mind connected to your ship's systems the moment we docked, Sun Ho explained. Everything you've said since we arrived has been broadcast throughout the fleet, and the files from your laboratory are now available to everyone. Outside the flagship, the situation was changing rapidly. Council representatives from many worlds had arrived to investigate Jin-woo's unauthorized actions. Now, faced with evidence of Min-jun's crimes, they took control of the fleet. Du-yun, released from detention, contacted Earth. Min-jun and Jin-woo are being detained, he told Yuna. The attack on Earth has been stopped. Over the next few days, the full story emerged. The council had been manipulated for centuries by Min-jun and his followers. Many council members were horrified to learn the truth about the corruption and the genocides committed in their name. A delegation of council leaders came to Earth to formally apologize. They met with Yun-ah and other world leaders in a historic gathering. Humanity has shown remarkable resilience and adaptation, Elder Do-yun said in the meeting. The council officially recognizes Earth as a sovereign world and invites you to join the galactic community. As equals, Haewon added firmly. Yuna looked at the assembled human leaders before responding. We accept your apology and your invitation, but we have conditions. The first condition was that all research on the corruption be shared openly. The second was that Earth would lead efforts to find other worlds that might have survivors of the plague. And the third, Yuna, said, is that enhanced humans must be accepted without fear or prejudice. We evolved this way because of a weapon used against us. We won't apologize for surviving. The council agreed to all conditions. In the months that followed, humanity began taking its place in the galaxy. Enhanced humans worked with council scientists to better understand their abilities and to help other species that might be threatened by similar weapons. Jisoo, now heading a new galactic health organization, continued her research into the corruption's original beneficial properties. What was meant to destroy us has made us stronger, she often said. That's the human way. We adapt, we overcome, and we grow. And across the stars, other species looked at Earth with new respect. Humans hadn't just survived the worst plague the universe had ever known. They had evolved through it, turning extinction into opportunity, proving they belonged among the stars not despite their struggles, but because of them.